They thought they could command my presence the same way they'd quietly controlled my bank accounts for years. "Stay away from your sister's birthday party," my parents warned, like I was the problem, like I hadn't funded half their lives without a single thank you. But the moment they said it, something inside me finally snapped. They wanted distance? Fine. I gave them distance. And consequences. While they planned balloons and cakes, I shut down every secret loan, every hidden card, every quiet debt they'd stacked on my name. And by the time they were blowing out candles that night, I was blowing out the last of the loyalty that had been killing me. My name is Marissa Cole, and for most of my life, I believed being the good daughter meant being the quiet daughter. The one who didn't push back, didn't make trouble, and didn't ask for anything in return. My parents raised me in a small town outside Cleveland, Ohio, in a house where love sounded less like warmth and more like responsibility. My mother, Cheryl Cole, ran our family with a precision that left no room for dissent. My father, Alan, floated around the edges of her decisions like a man who'd learned long ago that resistance was pointless. And my younger sister, Hannah, thrived in a world where everything bent toward her comfort. I moved to Denver in my mid-20s for a job in financial software and for air, real air, the kind not suffocating under the weight of expectations. But distance didn't loosen their grip. If anything, it made the strings tighter, stretched thinner, easier for them to pull without ever seeing the strain. It began with a phone call the week I received my first paycheck. My mother's voice, trembling with manufactured stress, painted a picture of Hannah struggling. Her semester fees came in higher than we expected, she sighed. "Could you help, just this once?" Of course I said yes. Of course I did. The next call came 2 months later. Then another. Then an email in the middle of the night. Before long, just this once became a permanent line item in my monthly budget. Tuition, books, lab fees, car insurance, a new laptop. Even the apartment Hannah moved into for her mental health came partly out of my bank account. And every time I hesitated, my mother's voice grew sharp with disappointment. "You know we don't have the means," she'd say. "Hannah's future depends on you." My father remained silent, the same way he had my entire childhood. Silence was his courage. Silence was his escape. Hannah treated my contributions like her birthright. One Christmas I surprised her with a top-tier digital drawing tablet because she'd mentioned wanting to pursue graphic design. She tore the wrapping paper, looked at it once and said, "Oh, I thought you'd get the pro version." My mother chuckled without shame. "Well, maybe next year," she said. Nothing inside me fought back. I swallowed the hurt like it was air. The moment that changed something in me came years later. My mother had stepped out of her car and left her phone on the seat. A notification blinked across the screen. My aunt's name. Aunt Dana. I don't know how she affords all that. Cheryl. Asterisk she pays because she's gullible. Let her. Some people are born to support the family. Smiley face. Asterisk. My stomach tightened. I didn't confront her. I didn't even breathe. I just tucked the hurt deep inside and told myself I was imagining things. And still, every semester I paid. So when that day came, a Tuesday evening, our monthly family check-in on Zoom, I entered the call expecting the usual tight smiles and subtle guilt trips. Instead, the moment the screen loaded, I felt something wrong beneath their composure. My mother sat centered in the frame, posture erect, eyes sharp. Hannah leaned smugly on the arm of the couch. My father hovered behind them like a ghost. "We need to make something clear," my mother announced. "We don't want to see your face at Hannah's birthday party. It's a family moment. You tend to ruin things." There was no hesitation. No attempt to soften the blow. Hannah crossed her arms. "Yeah, it's better if you just stay in Denver. You bring stress. It's supposed to be a happy day." My father looked down, avoiding my eyes. I didn't speak. I didn't even blink. After so many years of swallowing their words, I expected the old pain to close around my ribs. But instead, something inside me snapped. Not violently, not explosively, but with the clean, precise sound of a thread that had been stretched past its limit. I didn't argue. I didn't beg for inclusion. I simply said, "Then stay away from my help too." My mother's eyebrows lifted as if she hadn't understood. Excuse me. But my decision had already crystallized. When the Zoom call ended, I didn't cry. I didn't rage. I sat at my desk in the quiet glow of my apartment that I paid for, and I felt for the first time in years, still, like my breathing finally belonged to me. Then I opened my laptop. I signed into the tuition portal. The next cycle lay there, waiting for my automated payment, the one they pretended was some magical blessing instead of my own hard-earned money. I hovered for a second, not from fear, but from awe. Then I clicked cancel. I opened my bank next. 3 cards linked to my identity, cards I barely remembered, were maxed out. Designer bags. Weekend trips. A subscription box I'd never heard of. All shipped either to my parents' house or to Hannah's apartment. I froze every one. Then I changed every password they'd been using for years without permission. What hit hardest wasn't the theft. It was how natural it felt to them. How expected. As I compiled screenshots into a folder, just to see the full truth laid out in one clean place, I found an audio file saved under a random date. I played it. My mother's voice floated through the speakers, bright and amused. "She'll pay." Hannah snorted. "She always pays." Then the line that tightened around my ribs like wire. "It's basically her purpose." The worst part. They sounded proud. My phone buzzed with messages. "Hannah, did the payment go through? My portal's glitching." "Mom, don't be dramatic. Just fix it." "Dad, let's not make this a big issue. Breathe." I didn't reply. Instead, I logged into every shared subscription: music, video, grocery delivery, rideshare memberships, cloud storage, and removed my card from all of them. My list of what they'd been using was longer than I even remembered. By the time I closed my laptop, sunset had slipped across my wooden floors. I stood barefoot, breathing slow, feeling something inside me uncoil, something I didn't know deserved space. 3 days later, my mother sent an email with the subject line: "Urgent family meeting. Attend immediately." Urgent. Not because of danger, but because they'd lost control. I clicked the Zoom link. My family appeared instantly. My mother front and center, Hannah beside her, my father in the background. "You need to fix what you broke," my mother snapped. "The event planner is calling us non-stop. The venue deposit didn't go through. And the bakery says the card declined." I kept my face calm. "That's because it's not my card anymore." My mother scoffed. "Don't be petty. Just do what you've always done." I didn't move. I didn't blink. "I'm not paying anymore." Silence filled the room. Heavy. Electric. My mother leaned in. "Enough. This is childish. Hannah deserves her birthday. You owe." "I don't owe you anything," I said calmly. Their faces shifted. All 3 at once. My father's eyes widened. My mother's mouth pressed into a thin line. Hannah's jaw dropped, stunned in a way that almost made her look young again. Almost. I clicked on a folder titled, "For My Sanity." Their eyes flicked to the screen. "This," I said quietly, "is what I've been covering. Unauthorized charges. Reinstated tuition payments. Cards linked to emails that weren't mine. Luxury purchases. Spa memberships. Flights." Hannah's voice broke first. "You didn't need to keep all that. You're lucky all I'm doing is keeping records, I replied. Then I played the audio. My mother's voice. Hannah's laugh. My purpose. The screen went still as a grave. My mother inhaled sharply. You recorded us? I shook my head. No. You recorded yourselves. I just stopped ignoring it. What followed wasn't an argument. It was exposure. Every assumption. Every entitlement. Every belief that my life existed to fund theirs. I ended the call with one sentence. I wish you well, but I'm done paying for your peace. And then, for the first time, I closed the laptop without guilt. Without fear. Without looking back. Silence followed the call like an echo. 4 years, silence from my family meant I had done something wrong. This silence felt different. It was the kind that follows a slammed door, the kind that signals something has ended. 2 days later, an email from the university appeared in my inbox. Polite. Firm. Due to an unresolved outstanding balance and an attempted unauthorized modification of the account credentials, the student, Hannah Cole, will not be permitted to participate in the birthday venue event booked under the university's campus hall. They didn't mention my name, but I could read between the lines. Someone had tried to impersonate me to reinstate payments. Someone had finally been told, no. I didn't smile. I didn't cheer. I didn't dance in petty satisfaction. I simply sat in my Denver apartment, the morning sun stretching across my living room, and breathed. Really breathed. Deep, full breaths that didn't carry someone else's weight. My phone stayed quiet the rest of the day. The next, however, wasn't as quiet. At 10:13 a.m., the buzzer to my building rang harshly. I checked the camera and froze. My father. He stood outside the lobby like a man rehearsing his words. I buzzed him in. He didn't come with anger. He didn't come with demands. He came with something I wasn't expecting. Exhaustion. When I opened the door, he didn't attempt a hug. He just stepped inside gently. She's devastated, he said. Hannah? I asked. He hesitated. Your mother? Of course. My father walked to the middle of my living room and stopped there, looking at the floor. We didn't realize how much we leaned on you. No, I said softly. You realized. You just didn't see a reason to stop. He swallowed hard. She's blaming me for not convincing you. And are you trying to? I asked. He shook his head slowly. No, I think this was long overdue. I didn't expect that. Not from him. He sat on the edge of the couch like he wasn't sure he belonged there. She says you should come home. Fix this. Make peace. I'm not coming back to the same terms, I replied. He nodded, almost relieved. I figured. I just needed to hear it from you. My father had always chosen silence because it was safer than confrontation. But now, he seemed to understand that silence had cost me years of my life. Are you okay? He asked. I'm better than I've ever been, I said truthfully. He stood up, hands shaking slightly. I don't know what will happen now. That's not my responsibility anymore. He nodded again. Not angry. Not bitter. Just accepting. When he left, the door clicked shut softly. It didn't feel like abandonment. It felt like release. That evening, I made tea, sat on my balcony, and watched the city lights blink awake beneath the darkening sky. I realized something. I had never seen a sunset without feeling guilty for enjoying it. 2 days later, my mother called. Once. Twice. 7 missed calls in a row. I didn't answer. Then came a text. You have embarrassed this family. I hope you're happy. Another. Your sister's event is ruined. Everyone will know why. A third. If you walk away now, don't expect this family to welcome you back. I stared at the screen. 2 months ago, her words would have crushed me. Now, they felt like a door gently closing. I typed one message back. Just one. I'm not walking away from family. I'm walking away from people who never acted like mine. I blocked her number. I expected guilt. I expected regret. I expected that familiar voice inside whispering that I was selfish, cruel, ungrateful. But none of it came. In its place came quiet. A new kind of quiet. Peaceful, steady, mine. Weeks passed. My life didn't change in grand, dramatic ways. I still woke up at 6 for work. I still meal prepped on Sundays. I still bought myself fresh flowers every Friday. But the small things changed. The tightness behind my ribs loosened. The heaviness between my shoulders lifted. The urge to apologize for every breath faded. I stopped waiting for my phone to buzz with demands. I stopped checking my email with a knot in my throat. And one morning, I woke up laughing, just because sunlight hit my wall in a pretty way. That was when I knew I'd made the right choice. Hannah eventually sent me an email. Short. Bitter. Defensive. Hope you're happy. You ruined everything. I didn't reply. She wasn't ready to understand. Maybe she never would. But her journey wasn't mine to guide anymore. Months after the fallout, I ran into my father again, this time intentionally. He flew to Denver for a quiet lunch. Without my mother. Without tension. Without the weight of expectations. He apologized. Not perfectly. Not eloquently. But honestly. I didn't protect you, he said. I let things happen. I let your mother guide everything. I know, I said. But I'm okay now. He nodded, tears in his eyes. That's the part I'm finally happy about. We parted with a real hug this time. A genuine one. And as I watched him walk away down the quiet Denver sidewalk, I realized that some relationships survive honesty, and some don't. Both outcomes are gifts. The last message I ever received from my mother came months later. You'll regret the day you turned your back on us. But the truth is, the only regret I have is not walking away sooner. Family isn't blood. Family is respect. Family is reciprocity. Family is a place where love expands instead of drains. I didn't lose a family. I lost a role I never agreed to play. And in the empty space that followed, I found myself, whole, steady, and free. Moral lessons. This story is a reminder that even the people we love the most can take advantage of our silence, our kindness, and our willingness to help. Family loyalty should never require you to sacrifice your dignity or become a resource they use without respect. Sometimes the hardest but healthiest choice is setting boundaries, even when it means walking away from those who refuse to value you. If you're in a situation where you feel unheard or mistreated, remember this. Your worth isn't measured by what you give, but by who you are. Stand firm in your truth, protect your peace, and don't be afraid to rebuild your life from a place of self-respect. Healing doesn't always start with reconciliation. Sometimes it starts with courage, clarity, and choosing yourself. If any part of my story feels like a chapter from your own, share it in the comments. And make sure you subscribe, because no one should have to face their breaking point alone.